Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson, with Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed. 7 ways why Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed deprograms the museum mind. Your mind is a museum because it's never got to hear, and everything in the mind is from yesterday. Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed rides past the museum mind as Cowboy Wisdom never negotiates with archived identities, wounded stories, or emotional archaeology. It witnesses the museum mind as a dusty exhibit of yesterday's logic, a place where thinking, knowing, viewpoints, opinion, and beliefs pretend to be clarity. You can never think and know clarity. You can sense clarity and hearken clarity, but you can never think and know clarity. Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed deprograms the museum mind by refusing to fix it, refusing to worship it, refusing to obey it. It walks you straight into sovereign instinct, where your awareness breathes instead of obeys. Spirit frequency dissolves the grammar of captivity. And something I've grown to understand and I'm awakened and aware of, our vocabulary we learned in school is grammar of captivity. So is change, heal, create, transformation. That's all grammar of captivity. The liberating lingo of expand, energize, enterprise, and experience will rise you to your Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed energy. The museum mind speaks in punctuated obedience, structured, domesticated, socially acceptable shapes. Spirit's frequency is a breath-driven, wild, fluid, unrepeatable flow of foresight. It dissolves the cages of yesterday's grammar and awakens the clarity that rises before thought. This is the voltage that snaps the spell of improvement, healing, and transformation and forgiveness. All museum rituals are designed to keep you loyal to the past. Sovereign clarity rises me into the present experiences, and it allows me, and the museum and it unwinds the museum loops of wounded thinking and knowing. Present mind, my present stimulated, my sovereign savvy unleashes the energy as Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed deprograms the museum by awakening my frontier foresight and the version of me that I knew that no longer cannot exist in the past. It rises you of instinctual sovereignty into the breath-driven originality, into the now frequencies where your clarity is fresh, fierce, and free. Clarity is fresh, fierce, and free. Decrees I dance every day, celebrating rich, enterprising elegance to dance me through life. As I am the liberator of me. That's where I declare, or you declare, I am the liberator of me. Why Cowboy Wisdom bypasses every museum mind mechanism. As Cowboy Wisdom refuses to negotiate with thinking, knowing, viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs, the exact museum mind mechanics that keep identity archived. It rides past emotional archaeology and past loyal logic and domesticated narratives. How much stuff during your day is run on domestic narratives? I've caught myself, and I really have opened up to express the opulence of my optimism. Unleashing the sovereign instinct that breathes only of the now wows me to dance with life. This bypass is the ignition that frees your energy from yesterday's cages of raging lunacy. Cowboy wisdom awakens frontier instincts instead of obedience. Improvement rituals, healing frameworks, and transformation narratives train compliance. Cowboy wisdom trains sovereignty. Cowboy wisdom opens a way for sovereignty to lead you through life. It awakens a wild, fluid, unrepeatable instinct that rises before thought and beyond permission. The instinct that declares, I am the liberator me. That is the warrior wise clarity that unleashes your gamer's gumption. Cowboy wisdom unleashes energy by deleting the archived identities. Change, heal, create, transformation. Try to repair the old character as cowboy wisdom deletes it, and the deletion creates the opening where your sovereign energy erupts. Instinctual, intuitive, unstoppable foresight to light your path, illuminate your paths of liberation. This eruption is the frontier voltage that unleashes your originality, your clarity, your present minds, and your present mind sovereignty. Why my program mind museum is ancestor programming, and I am going to do a podcast tomorrow night on ancestor programming. Ancestor survival script become today's museum mind. The program mind is never your thinking, it's your leftover survival codes your ancestors ran to stay alive. And they're still being ran today. Their fears, their obedience, and their emotional reflexes, and their danger logic became the museum that exhibits you call identity. You're never thinking, you're reenacting your repetitions and scripts within you. The museum mind is simply ancestor programming wearing modern clothes. Ancestry memory loops masquerade as your beliefs. What you call a belief, opinion, viewpoint, or knowing is just inherited memory replaying itself. That's awakening, isn't it? I felt awakened when I said that. When you call belief, opinion, viewpoint, or knowing, it's just inherited memory replaying itself. The museum mind is a storage unit of ancestral reactions, never sovereign clarity. Every hesitation, every self-doubt, every emotional trigger is an echo of someone who lived before you. So how do you live a lot before your mom and dad, your ancestors? How are you living ancestor obedience without admitting it? I know I have, and I still do. But now I'm aware of it, I can rise out of it and enjoy it. My museum mind is never personal. It is ancestral residue of never do and a lot of poopy do. Ancestor obedience became your internal authority. Ancestor obedience became your internal authority. Your ancestors survived by obeying danger, obeying in hierarchy, and obeying fear. How do you obey fear? I know I do. I just got to do some. I got to turn my Sherlock Holmes loose in there, and my to do some investigating. The obedience became the internal voice you mistake for your mind. The obedience became the inner voice you mistake for your mind. Cowboy wisdom dissolves it by exposing veracity of now. You're never controlled by your past. You're controlled by your ancestors' past. The museum mind is ancestor programming until you rise into present innovative sovereignty. And see, the thing about the mind is always in a bind from yesterday. And that's something, if you rise above saying mind in like present moment sovereignty, you liberate yourself. Ancestor obedience became internal authority. Ancestor obedience became internal authority as ancestor obedience installed the reflex to comply. Your ancestors survived by obeying danger, hierarchy, scarcity, and fear. Their nervous systems learned obey or die. And that was pretty much truth back then. The reflex that didn't disappear, it got inherited by me and you. When you call what you call hesitation, self-doubt, second guessing, or being realistic is just ancient obedience still running its script inside your ribs. The museum mind is simply ancestral survival code pretending to be your voice. Ancestor obedience become the voice you mistake for authority. The external critic, the caution voice, don't do that whisper, none of it is you. The voice that says don't do that, none of it's ever you. It's ancestral obedience echoing through your nervous system. Their fear became your logic. How did your fear become your logic? That's interesting. Their submission became your self-talk. Their submission became your self-talk. Their survival instincts became the museum mind authority you've been obeying without realizing it. Ancestor obedience became the museum mind's operating system that controls the way you think and do things today. The museum mind is never personal, it's inherited. It runs on old rules, old traumas, old hierarchies, old danger, old drama, and old danger maps. It tells you to stay small because your ancestors had to. It tells you to avoid risk because your ancestors couldn't afford it. It tells you to obey because your ancestors survived by doing exactly that. Cowboy wisdom deletes this operating system and rises you into present scenarios, sovereign scenarios of your dreams. The power and prowess of cowboy wisdom. Cowboy wisdom is the spirit frequency that refuses obedience. Cowboy wisdom never bows to thinking, knowing, viewpoints, opinions, or beliefs. The museum mind mechanics that once domesticated your intuition, it rides past emotional archaeology, emotional snapshots, and past loyal narratives and domesticated identity frameworks. Cowboy wisdom is the feral clarity that rises before thought, beyond permission and outside the cages of yesterday. It is a sovereign instinct that breathes only of the now. And something I want to share with you. You always want to know of the now rather than in the now, because in you're locked in, of you're open. Cowboy wisdom is the savage prowess that deletes archived identity. Self-help tries to repair the old character. Cowboy wisdom deletes it. That deletion is the ignition, the opening where your wild fluid and unrepeatable energy erupts your trailblazer tenacity. This is the savage liberation. This savage liberation doesn't fix you. It frees you from who you never were. How is who we think we are never who we are? Cowboy wisdom unleashes the frontier identity that cannot exist in the past. Cowboy wisdom is the power that rises me of my present savage sovereignty. Cowboy wisdom snaps the grammar of captivity, dissolves the emotional archaeology and awakens my breath-driven clarity. How does that feel? Breath-driven clarity. That's what unpunctuated writing is breath punctuation. It rises you into present mind experience, intellectual, intuitive, unstoppable foresight. This is the spirit frequency voltage where your originality becomes undeniable, your gumption becomes sovereign, and your clarity becomes wild and free and untamed to let you ride the open range of rebellious audacity. Cowboy wisdom is the frontier force that declares, I am the liberator of me. How does that feel? How does that feel? What do you sense when you say, I am the liberator of me? The power and the prowess of unleash. Unleash is the moment the spirit stops obeying yesterday. Unleash is never motivation, never courage, never confidence. It is the spirit frequency snap where the museum mind loses its authority, and it is the instant my instinct rises beyond thinking, knowing, viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs. Unleash is the breath where sovereignty replaces obedience and my clarity becomes wild, fluid, and unrepeatable. Unleash is the prowess of deleting the archived identity. Change, heal, create, transformation, create, improve, all them improve, all of them try to repair the old character. Unleash deletes the old character. That deletion creates the opening where my frontier identity erupts. Intellectual, intuitive wizardry and unstoppable foresight rides through the mountains of mystical, magical outcomes. This is the savage wisdom. Liberation never fixes me. It liberates me from who I never was. Unleashes the power of spirit frequency, rising me into the now inspiration and sovereignty. Unleashes a voltage that breathes only in the present. It dissolves emotional archaeology, snaps the grammar of captivity, and awakens the clarity that can never exist in the past. Unleashes the frontier force that declares, I am the liberator of me. Decrees I dance every day. Why cowboy wisdom unleashed is grounded in Mother Earth prowess. Cowboy wisdom rises from raw pulse of Mother Earth. Cowboy wisdom is never a philosophy, never a mindset, never a technique. It is earth frequency clarity that comes from standing barefoot in the veracity of existence and of now. Mother Earth never negotiates with wounds, narratives, or emotional archaeology. Mother Earth dissolves the museum mind the way the wind erases footprints in the desert. Cowboy wisdom unleashed is grounded because it's earth-born, not thought-born. Why cowboy wisdom hypnoacuity, cowboy wisdom unleashed, and I am the liberator of me, deprograms my ancestor obedient mind museum. Cowboy wisdom hypnoacuity bypasses inherited obedience, reflexes. Ancestors survive by obeying danger, hierarchy, scarcity, and fear. Their nervous system learned to obey or die, and that reflex became my way became your museum mind default. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity slips past the reflex and awakens instinctual sovereignty, the clarity that rises before thought and beyond permission. Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed deletes ancestral survival scripts that control me today from my museum mind binds. The ancestor obedient mind is never your thinking mind. It is your inherited survival codes replaying itself. Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed never repairs these scripts. It deletes them. Deletion creates the opening where your wild, fluid, and unrepeatable intuitive energy erupts into present sovereign power. As I am the liberator of me, snaps ancestral authority. The internal critic, and it dissolves the internal critic, the caution voice, don't do that, don't go over there, whisper, and none of it is you. It's ancestral obedience echoing through your ribs and through you. Now I declare I'm the liberator of me, breaks the ancestral spell and instills sovereign instinct as your fresh authority and your adventurous authenticity. Spirit frequency awareness dissolves ancestry memory loops as spirit frequency clarity is breath driven, never memory driven. It dissolves the loops of inherited fear, inherited hesitation, inherited emotional reflexes that control us today. This frequency rises you out of the museum mind and onto the now frontiers of where your originality breathes free and effortlessly. Warrior-wise sovereignty rises beyond inherited identity. As ancestral programming built the character you were told to be, as warrior-wise sovereignty deletes that character and awakens the frontier identity, instinctual, intuitive, and unstoppable. This is the rise where you stop reenacting your lineage and instantly embody your liberation, sets free your liberator of me. Why Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity deprograms my museum mind. And the reason I use hypnoacuity instead of hypnotherapy, it never activates the mind. It's beyond the mind and it's fresh. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity bypasses the museum mind's obedient circuitry, as a museum mind is built from inherited fear, ancestral obedience, and emotional archaeology. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity slips past all of that, past thinking, knowing, and viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs, and goes straight to instinct. That dissolves the reflex to comply and awakens my breath-driven clarity that rises before thought and illuminates my paths of enlightenment. This bypass is the exact moment the museum mind loses its authority. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity deletes the archived identity instead of repairing it. The museum mind is a storage unit of old characters, old narratives, and old emotional reflexes. Traditional change tries to fix the archive. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity deletes it. The deletion creates the opening where your wild fluid, and unrepeatable energy erupts instinctual, intuitive sovereignty. This is the savage wise clarity that cannot exist in the past. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity rises me into present moment sovereignty. The museum mind loops memory Present scenarios breathes of originality. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity snaps the grammar of captivity and awakens the now frequency, the frontier identity that moves without permission. This rise is where you stop reenacting yesterday and instantly embody the sovereignty of today. This is the breath where you declare I'm the liberator of me. Why Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity deprograms my museum mind. Because Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity, politically incorrect inspiration bypasses the museum mind's obedience reflex. The mind is built from inherited fear, ancestor, obedience, and emotional archaeology. As politically incorrect inspiration slips past all of that, past thinking, knowing, viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs, and goes straight to instinct. It dissolves the reflex to comply, awakens the breath-driven clarity that rises before thought. Politically incorrect inspiration bypasses thought. The exact moment the museum mind loses its authority. Politically incorrect inspiration deletes archived identity instead of repairing it. The museum mind is a storage unit of old character, old narratives, old emotional reflexes. Traditional change tries to fix the archive. As expand, energize, and enterprise rise you above it. As politically incorrect inspiration deletes it. As the deletion creates the opening where your wild, fluid, unrepeatable, intuitive energy erupts, instinctual imagination and sovereign, sassy tenacity to expand through life with ease. This is the savage, wise clarity that cannot exist in the past. Politically incorrect inspiration rises me of my present prowess and sovereign, sassy tenacity. The museum mind loops in memory. Present mind breathes originality. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity and politically incorrect inspiration snaps the grammar captivity and awakens the now frequency and the frontier identity that moves without permission. This is where you stop reenacting yesterday and instantly embody sovereignty today. Why Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity, Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed, I'm the liberator of me, expresses my opulent outcomes through the universe and is my daily lingo. Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity deletes scarcity, coded museum mind. The museum mind is built from ancestral scarcity, inherited fear, domesticated obedience. As Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity bypasses all that, dissolves the reflex to shrink, hesitate, or doubt. So when scarcity dissolves, opulence rises, never as wealth, but as sovereign outcomes, born from instinctual clarity. As Cowboy Unleashed awakens frontier frequency expressions, opulent outcomes require expression that is wild, fluid, and unrepeatable, and unborrowed from anywhere. As Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed snaps the grammar of captivity and unleashes your breath-driven originality, this frontier expression is what manifests outcomes that are expansive, sovereign, and impossible to domesticate. As I am the liberator of me, installs sovereign authenticity. Opulence can never rise under inherited authority. Declaring I'm the liberator of me deletes ancestral obedience, installs instincts as your internal compass. Sovereign authority is the exact voltage that births opulent outcomes. Outcomes that move because you move. Spirit frequency clarity amplifies opulent choice making. Spirit frequency is a breath driven, never memory driven. It dissolves hesitation, dissolves doubt, and dissolves inherited caution. This clarity makes your decisions opulent, bold, clean, sovereign, and opulent decisions create opulent outcomes. As warrior wise, sovereignty expresses outcomes without permission. Opulent outcomes require movement without permission. Warrior-wise sovereignty rises beyond compliance and expresses outcomes from instinct, never approval. This is the savage-wise veracity. Opulence is never archived, it is expressed. Cowboy wisdom is the breath that unleashes that expression to travel, to chauffeur you through life with the greatest of ease. As what these do is they rise you out of the social obedience, the emotional obedience, and your inherited obediences to expand you through life in present moment. And see, that's all we have is right here. But when you start bringing in the memory and all this other stuff, you go backwards. That's why you sense life rather than feel life. Because feel takes you into all the other stuff, but sense life is going forward now. And I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom, and I want to thank you, and may your life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me in the world. And good night.